the Indiana Fever are that golden destination, and I can't help but laugh to the fans and the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
Sheryl Swoopes is truly on a downward spiral. She stood tall, puffed out her chest, and boldly claimed that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever wouldn't be able to land top free agents. Fast forward a few months, and here we are. Indiana just pulled off one of the most successful free agency periods in league history. Meanwhile, Sheryl is left looking like a broken Magic 8 ball, constantly wrong and desperately hoping for a better outcome. Someone should check on her because, at this point, the Fever's dominance has completely obliterated any credibility she had left.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
Let's take a moment to reset. Yes, Sheryl Swoopes is a Hall of Famer and a true legend of the game. But lately, she's been clocking in as a full-time Caitlin Clark skeptic, working overtime to push some questionable opinions. She boldly stated that the Fever wouldn't be able to attract top-tier talent due to alleged locker room issues. And yet, here we are. The contracts are signed, the deals are sealed, and Indiana just assembled a powerhouse squad, while Sheryl stands on the sidelines, trying to pretend she didn't completely miss the mark with another prediction.
Stephanie White came in and said, okay, hold up. Let me go to Indeed.com and Indeed get some free agents to come in here that want to play, that are accomplished, seasoned veterans. She did all that. Cheryl's been nowhere to been found. Sheryl got a lot of crow to eat, folks. Sheryl could be choking on crow right now. She need that Heimlich maneuver. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, tell her it's okay to come out and talk and say, man, you was wrong. It's okay.
I can only picture Sheryl scrolling through her phone in disbelief, muttering to herself, no way these players actually chose Indiana. But yep, it happened. Natasha Howard, Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, and even Asia Wilson's close friend, Sydney Colson, are all now part of the Fever. They didn't just win free agency, they completely dominated it. When Colson was asked why she decided to join Indiana...
Yeah, I talked to Sydney Colson today. She said that Kelsey Mitchell was actually the first person she hit up because they built a bond here, playing AU for the last 3 years. She said she heard some good things about Caitlin Clark from her Aces teammate Kate Martin as well, so that made the decision easy.
Oh, the irony. She specifically mentioned wanting to play alongside Kelsey Mitchell, one of the very players Sheryl had previously dismissed. And of course, she wanted to team up with Caitlin Clark, the same Caitlin Clark Sheryl confidently said would need years to adjust to the WNBA. Years, really? Meanwhile, Clark is out here effortlessly dropping 40-point games, while Swoopes' predictions are aging like a gallon of milk left out in the sun.
3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't. Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
At this point, bashing Caitlin Clark has turned into a full-blown sport, and Sheryl Swoopes is gunning for the gold. In fact, she's probably sweeping the podium, gold, silver, and bronze, standing there with a scowl while the Fever celebrate yet another major win. Oh, Caitlin won't adjust to the WNBA? Yeah, tell that to Indiana, who's stacking elite talent like they're putting together the Avengers. Caitlin Clark isn't struggling, she's thriving, and the Fever are right alongside her, proving every doubter, including Swoopes, dead wrong.
No, but players who will be free agents next year, there's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Let's be real. The reason some WNBA veterans and self-proclaimed legends can't stand Caitlin Clark is because she didn't wait her turn. She didn't ask for permission. She didn't ease into the league with a meek, I hope I fit in attitude. She walked in, shattered 62 records, connected with the fans, and single-handedly took women's basketball to new heights. And that? Oh, that absolutely eats them up inside.
What it do, peeps? Sheryl Swoopes is been missing. Sheryl Swoopes is MIA. They got a APB out for Sheryl Swoopes. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave.
Caitlin Clark didn't need anyone's approval to become the face of the sport. She's gained more global recognition than half the WNBA combined, and it's not her fault. That's just what happens when you're a once-in-a-generation talent. Sheryl Swoopes, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, and the entire anti-Clark crew will have to come to terms with that, because while they're busy complaining, Caitlin is out here making history, selling out arenas, and turning the Indiana Fever into the team everyone wants to play for.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
So, Sheryl, what happened to players not wanting to go to Indiana? Who were you talking to? The ghosts of teams past? Because real top-tier players are signing with the Fever like it's the VIP section of an exclusive club. Or did she really think Caitlin Clark would have to beg people to join her?
Went even further when a game that Sheryl Swoopes was calling for the Dallas Wings, where the commentator was talking about how great Caitlin Clark had been playing. Sheryl Swoopes, silent for 60 seconds, didn't even want to address it. And it got so bad that the game that Dallas then went to play against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, after the domination of the Chicago Sky, Sheryl Swoopes got pulled from the broadcast.
Somebody check on Sheryl, because she's clearly stuck in 2002. Back when the Indiana Fever were scraping together rosters like they were hosting open tryouts at the local YMCA. Newsflash, times have changed. This isn't Tamika Catchings carrying a team of part-time gym teachers to the playoffs anymore. The Fever aren't struggling to recruit talent. They're stacked. Natasha Howard, a defensive powerhouse, a champion, and an offensive force all in one. When she signed with Indiana, she made it clear she wanted to be here.
It's going to be Caitlin Clark Flash Show. So it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, like you said, that have a good vision on the court. Because that's like, as soon as she gets the ball in her hand, she's throwing it up because she already sees the person down the court before she even get the ball in her hand. So that's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I really can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all the assists that she needs.
DeWanna Bonner, a walking mismatch, a dominant scorer, and one of the WNBA's elite veterans. And what did she do the moment she joined Indiana? She hit Twitter and went to battle with all the Fever haters, setting the tone before even stepping onto the court.
I think she's a great player. I'm happy to be on the side of her now instead of guarding her. Of course, she's a dynamic player, and you see that in what she's done in her rookie year. And I'm actually excited to see what she's going to do her second year in the league, and with a little bit, more experience and understanding a little bit more. So
Sophie Cunningham, bringing the spice, the swagger, and enough trash talk to last the whole season. And who did she want to team up with? You guessed it, Caitlin Clark.
To be honest, I am just so excited to be here. I'm from the Midwest, and so for me to kind of get back to my roots and be close to my family, I'm so excited. Like, when I say that I am refreshed and I am motivated, and I just kind of feel like my spark is back. Everyone thinks I've been feisty. You've not even seen the feisty side of me yet, so this should be really fun. But for me, I'm excited to be closer to home. I'm excited to deep dive into the community of Indiana. I've already met a lot of really cool people. I'm excited to inspire the next generation of young boys and girls around here, get to know the community more. But I promise you that I'm just ready to win.
And then there's Sydney Colson. Look, she might not be dropping 25 a night, but she's about to transform that locker room into the most electric, high-energy environment the Fever have ever had. The chemistry? Through the roof. See a pattern here? These aren't just bench players being moved around for depth. These are legit WNBA stars and key contributors choosing Indiana, choosing to play alongside the Fab Four of Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. So while Sheryl Swoopes is scrambling to defend yet another one of her terrible takes, the Indiana Fever are quietly building something special. Maybe someone should get Sheryl an eye exam, because she clearly wasn't talking about Indiana. Perhaps she meant the Las Vegas Aces, desperately slashing ticket prices, or the Chicago Sky, who just lost their leading scorer with no backup plan. Or maybe the Connecticut Sun, a team that's falling apart right before our eyes. Meanwhile, Indiana? They're not here just to compete. They're here to dominate.
Thank you. I can't wait to give this to my girlfriend.
You don't have a girlfriend, Mike.
If you thought Caitlin Clark was simply a deadly sharpshooter with an intense competitive spirit, think again. She's also a comedy mastermind. From roasting her teammates to delivering perfect one-liners and pulling off surprising antics, Clark knows how to keep the laughs coming. Now, let's dive into 10 of Caitlin Clark's funniest moments that had everyone in stitches. Kicking things off is the time Caitlin Clark made an appearance on SNL's Weekend Update. What made this moment so funny and entertaining was that Caitlin came fully prepared with her own jokes written down. It was a hilarious scene, giving the audience and fans a chance to see her comedic side. Michael also delivered an absolutely perfect introduction to Clark, adding to the laughter.
The University of Iowa announced that basketball star Caitlin Clark will have her jersey retired and replaced with an apron. Well, the WNBA draft is this Monday, and Iowa star Caitlin Clark is expected to be the #1 pick. Here to comment is Caitlin Clark.
The audience absolutely loved having Clark in the spotlight, and things got even funnier when Caitlin Clark fired back at Michael's earlier joke by asking him to read some of the jokes she had written herself. The exchange took the humor to a whole new level.
This year, Caitlin Clark broke the record for three-pointers in a single season, and I have three-pointers for Michael Che. 1B, 2 funnier, 3...
To wrap up the segment, Caitlin Clark took it up a notch by handing Michael an apron, a nod to his earlier joke when he introduced her to the show. The timing was perfect, and she even took the opportunity to roast Michael a little more, adding another layer of comedy to the moment.
Since you're such a big fan, I brought you a souvenir. It's an apron signed by me.
Thank you. I can't wait to give this to my girlfriend.
You don't have a girlfriend, Mike.
Caitlin Clark, everybody!
At this point, the crowd was absolutely roaring with laughter. The whole exchange only added to the humor, showcasing just how funny and entertaining Caitlin Clark really is. Moving on to number 2, aside from those times when she came prepared with jokes, Clark has had plenty of moments where she cracked a joke off the cuff, leaving everyone in stitches with her spontaneous humor. Like that one time, she tried to make a wordplay joke about cheetahs.
Caitlin, pits of your soul, you're a comedian. No. Do you have any updated jokes for me?
Why don't they take tests at the zoo? There's too many cheetahs.
What made it even funnier was the way the reporter just stood there, totally dazed and amused, while Clark couldn't help but laugh and smile, fully aware of how mischievous and hilarious the moment was. Now, moving on to number 3, Caitlin Clark doesn't keep her jokes limited to interviews. She's also a pro at the friendly roast. During one interview, the WNBA star was on the court when the reporter decided to test their own shooting skills.
I think you have to go now. Come on. Let's see if you can get it there.
Two more. You know, I have no legs, so I can come in here.
No, I feel confident. Let's see.
I'm wearing this jacket.
Oh.
Ugh,
That's
terrible.
not bad. Get it there.
Oh my God.
You gotta jump.
Even though Clark tried to be supportive, she just couldn't help but laugh and throw in a few playful jabs. And when the reporter tried to blame his terrible shooting on his dress clothes and the tight rims, Caitlin wasn't about to let him off the hook that easily.
Tight rims, I'm telling you.
No, I think that might just be you, honestly.
This moment just made Clark even more lovable thanks to her hilarious personality. Coming in at number 4, another unforgettable moment that had everyone buzzing about Caitlin Clark's mischievous side was her visit to a goat petting zoo with her teammates. Watching Clark feed the baby goats quickly turned into pure entertainment, and naturally, she turned the whole thing into her own personal comedy show.
All right, relax. Everybody don't fight over me. Don't fight over me, okay? Wait, I don't remember who I bet.
Fans love seeing Caitlin and her teammates bond over something other than basketball. But the real comedy came from the fans themselves, who couldn't resist making the perfect joke: the goat feeding goats. Now, halfway through at number 5, Caitlin Clark's easygoing and cheerful nature really shines when she's around her teammates, both on and off the court. Her bond with Lexi Hull is especially fun to watch. One particularly funny moment happened during an interview when Lexi was answering a question, only for Caitlin to interrupt with a burst of childish laughter at something Lexi said.
What was your intent there to try to make an impact as well as you did tonight?
Thank you. I would say that's kind of my role.
Respectful.
Caitlin Clark's reaction to Lexi Hull's innocent comment had the entire room in stitches.
And take advantage of that. Caitlin? Yeah. We're done. Oh,
Coming in at number 6, Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hull's dynamic duo wasn't just reserved for the court. The two had fans cracking up once again when they pulled up to a Swig drive-thru to grab some fruit and soda drinks.
Playing with vanilla cream instead of coconut cream. Can I have the beach babe too, please?
What made this even more interesting was that Clark was immediately recognized. But when the friendly lady asked if she was really Caitlin Clark, Clark responded with a mischievous grin.
You're Caitlin Clark, right?
Maybe.
After being recognized, the owner gifted them golden mugs, guaranteeing them free refills whenever they came back.
Golden mug I want to give you. Golden mug means every time you come through Swig, you just get a free refill.
He said he was going to give us golden mugs. So
we'll be back.
Yeah.
At number 7, one thing that stands out about Caitlin Clark is how her teammates not only recognize her playful side, but also encourage it. Of course, sometimes they have to step in to keep her focused, like that time during warm-ups when Katie Lou got the best of Clark, locking in a submission and making her tap out. The whole team couldn't stop laughing. This was a hilarious moment that perfectly captured the fun and bond the team shares. Caitlin later opened up about it, admitting that she can be a bit of a child sometimes with how playful she gets.
She's just she's a kid sometimes, and keeps everything light, but sometimes you just gotta put her in place.
Coming in at number 8, Caitlin Clark's humor isn't confined to basketball. She can turn anything into a comedy show. In one unforgettable moment, Lexi Hull caught Clark delivering a full play-by-play commentary on a Philly baseball game.
And that ball's hit to the shortstop. Rojas throws it over to first base, and that's not going to be enough.
The video quickly went viral, perfectly capturing how effortlessly hilarious and entertaining Clark can be. Watching her switch from WNBA star to baseball commentator had fans in stitches.
The Phillies leading 1-0. We'll be back in a minute with a 30-second break.
It was such a viral moment that it even landed Clark an invitation.
The Phillies have taken her up on her offer to broadcast a game.
At number 9, Caitlin Clark's humor isn't just for her teammates. It extends to her family and friends as well. A perfect example of this is her hilarious moments with her boyfriend, Connor. The two have shared some truly funny interactions.
I just want to sleep for like 3 weeks straight after the season's over.
You want to sleep for 3 weeks straight during the season, too?
That too. I love sleeping. It's awesome.
The thing about Caitlin is how she'll enthusiastically praise and appreciate Connor for being supportive. But she doesn't hesitate to throw friendly jabs at him, even during interviews. Like that time she casually mentioned that in a shooting competition, she outshoots him every time.
Having some shooting competitions, it gets a little heated. I definitely outshoot him way more than he outshoots me, but he tries to think otherwise.
And finally, at number 10, Caitlin Clark's playful and competitive spirit isn't just for her teammates and friends. It shines through in her family moments too. Her close bond with her family is filled with hilarious exchanges, but one of the best was when she got fouled and started complaining about it, only for her dad to shut it down with a classic, stop complaining response.
Move, and if they're open, she will find them.
Martin commits the foul.
And that wraps up our list of Caitlin Clark's funniest moments. From her sharp wit to her playful antics, she never fails to entertain, both on and off the court. Whether she's cracking jokes, roasting teammates, or turning everyday moments into comedy gold, Caitlin proves she's not just a basketball star, she's a natural entertainer. If you enjoyed this compilation, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fun and unforgettable Caitlin Clark moments.
But yeah, man, Asia Wilson, man, commanded $19.
Caitlin Clark doesn't just move the needle, she is the needle. And if you need any more proof of that, the Indiana Fever exhibition game sold out in just about 30 minutes.
Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces just got smacked with a harsh reality check. And let's just say, it ain't pretty. While the Indiana Fever's preseason game sold out in less than an hour, Asia and her crew are practically handing out tickets like they're free drink coupons at a happy hour. Caitlin Clark isn't just outshining the so-called best player in the WNBA. She's making the reigning MVP look completely irrelevant. Did Wilson forget to send out a group text reminding people she still exists? Did the Aces marketing team get too caught up in a free buffet? Whatever the reason, someone needs to call up Vegas's front office because they might need Clark just to fill the stands. And, let's be real, this is making Asia Wilson downright furious.
This, by the way, is driving Asia Wilson fans nuts. They're furious that this is happening on the same day. Why are they doing this? Oh my God, don't they realize the impact of Asia Wilson, blah, blah. What impact? Stop it.
Meanwhile, over in Indiana, it's total chaos. Fever fans are doing everything but camping out just to catch a glimpse of Caitlin Clark in a preseason game. The matchup, held at the University of Iowa, Clark's old stomping grounds, didn't just sell out, it sent ticket prices soaring into the stratosphere. Resale sites are going nuts, with seats going for thousands of dollars. The cheapest ticket left? A casual $400 to $500. That's right, $1,000 just to see Clark warm up before the real season kicks off. Fans are treating this like it's Game 7 of the WNBA Finals.
But yeah, it's a big situation again. Like Caitlin Clark selling out Iowa, sold out a preseason game. People saying it sold out in 40 minutes. This is within 20 minutes. Like obviously you couldn't get onto the damn website. It's sold out. You could have been trying to refreshing the page and not got tickets. Most of the time, it officially sold out in 40 minutes, but like realistically, it almost crashed the website.
But let's talk about what's going down in Las Vegas, because it's getting downright embarrassing. The so-called powerhouse of the WNBA can't even get people to cough up a measly $19 for a ticket. That's less than what you'd spend on a meal at a decent restaurant. At this point, the Aces might as well start handing out buy one, get one free deals just to fill a few rows. You'd think a team loaded with MVPs, All-Stars, and Olympians wouldn't have to beg people to show up. But here we are.
The Las Vegas Aces. So, let me see how much it's gonna bust my pockets to go see the Aces in their first preseason game, man. $19, jeez.
The contrast is insane. In Indiana, fans are battling just to get a seat in the nosebleeds for the chance to see Clark's debut. In Vegas, you could stroll in late, grab some nachos, and still have your pick of premium seats. And here's the truth. This isn't just about ticket prices, it's about demand. People are going above and beyond to be in the building for Clark, while the Aces are over here desperately hoping someone, anyone, shows up to check out their so-called historic team.
I just want to point that out. As an Indiana Fever fan, I mean, there are people who are willing to pay all kinds of money to get tickets. There are people who are buying merch, flying off the shelves, basketball, all kinds of stuff. And they're begging to buy that shoe. That's why I said, Nike, I don't know what the deal is. I'm not into the contract or anything like that. They got something, whatever their agreement is, that's their agreement. I'm saying, though, when that shoe shows up, they better prepare.
Let's put this into perspective. The resale price for 2 courtside Fever tickets to a preseason game could easily cover a round-trip flight to Vegas, a fancy hotel stay, and a pricey steak dinner with enough left over to buy Aces tickets and still have cash in your pocket. That's how insane this gap is. Indiana Fever fans aren't just excited, they're part of a movement. Meanwhile, the Aces are over here practically begging people to take seats like it's some kind of charity event.
Remember, fans are for real Indiana Fever fans, and they buy tickets. They sell out arenas, home and away. They buy merch.
Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA, she flipped the entire league's hierarchy on its head. The Fever, a team that was barely on the map for years, is now the hottest thing in basketball. And the Aces? Well, they just got a brutal reminder that banners don't always fill seats. Clark is the future, and Vegas better hope they don't get left in the dust.
They're sold out, so I really don't know what they're gonna do about this. I guess it's just kind of like one of those missed opportunities, and you know, a lot of people are saying they need to move this to a stadium because there's no doubt in Iowa, if you move this to a stadium, it would be sold out.
A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces can try all the damage control they want, but the numbers don't lie. There's just no hype. Some will blame it on the market, claiming Vegas has too many entertainment options. But let's be real, Indiana isn't exactly Times Square, yet the Fever are selling out games at record speed, while the Aces are practically handing out tickets like free samples at a grocery store. Two-time champions, stacked with talent, yet their tickets are gathering dust in the bargain bin. That's not a market problem. That's an interest problem.
Did you see how many people showed up to watch Caitlin Clark play golf? With actual attention, economics at play, Caitlin's participation in any league has an existential bearing. Nobody outside of A'ja herself cares about whether A'ja shows up.
A'ja Wilson, the so-called face of the league, can't even get enough fans in the stands to cover the cost of a standard dinner bill. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, fresh off a history-making rookie season, has the entire world locked in to watch her every move. The Fever stock is through the roof, while the Aces are fading into irrelevance day by day. Fans aren't rushing to see Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, or even Wilson take over. They're lining up, paying top dollar just to catch a glimpse of Caitlin Clark putting on a show.
That's crazy because literally nobody asked, and sources close to A'ja Wilson decided to answer anyway.
Let's be real. When was the last time you saw courtside seats for a reigning MVP going for under $20? That's unheard of. Meanwhile, Clark's games sell out in minutes, and the resale market is going crazy like it's a Super Bowl ticket. It's not even a fair fight. The Caitlin Clark effect is undeniable, and A'ja Wilson and the Aces are just going to have to face it.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world. That's great, it looks great. But I want to be the best person. I want to be the best teammate, because that's how I get the best out of my team.
Think about it. People are out here debating whether Caitlin Clark is changing the game, while A'ja Wilson is struggling to fill an arena like it's open mic night at a coffee shop. The Aces thought they were the hottest team in the WNBA. Then Clark showed up, and suddenly, the entire league shifted to revolve around her.
Because Indiana Fever fans support, not just by running their mouth or running their fingers, they actually do something. And those who may not be able to afford it, they want to do something. And so this is just me saying, way to go, Fever fans. And we love, listen, remember how it was like nobody wants to go play in Indiana, nobody wants to play with Caitlin Clark, those fans. And we came to find out when free agency showed up, everybody wanted to go to Indiana and play for the Indiana Fever and play with Caitlin Clark. And when they got here, started praising the fans.
Aces fans love to pull the back-to-back champions card. But here's the real question. What's the point of being a dominant team if nobody's watching? You could stroll into an Aces game 5 minutes before tip-off and still snag a front row seat like it's a clearance sale. Meanwhile, trying to get a ticket to see Caitlin Clark play is like trying to score front row seats to a Beyoncé concert, gone in seconds. There are levels to this, and Caitlin Clark is showing she's in a league of her own. The WNBA's future has arrived, and the Aces just got left behind.
I shouldn't be surprised, and yet I'm still surprised because Indiana Fever preseason, not even like preseason, exhibition game, with the Indiana Fever going to play the Brazilian national team at Cover Hockey Arena, Caitlin's college facility, sold out. They went on sale this morning at 9 a.m. for Fever season ticket holders, Iowa donors, and Iowa season ticket holders for women's basketball. And then general admission was supposed to go on sale tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm hearing rumblings of like maybe scalpers got in, like the secondary market is already crazy, but it was sold out and a bunch of season ticket holders couldn't even get their tickets. Iowa women's basketball posted this on their Instagram and on their Facebook just a few minutes ago that, hey, it's already sold out. No point in trying to get tickets tomorrow for the general public because you can't.
Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's rewriting the entire sports landscape. She's turning casual fans into die-hard supporters, with people who've never watched a WNBA game suddenly rushing to buy jerseys, lining up for tickets, and filling arenas they didn't even know existed. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's games? It's like watching a midweek high school scrimmage, half-empty seats, concession stands hawking 2-for-1 popcorn deals like it's a garage sale. Aces fans can scream about disrespect all they want, but the truth is simple. If the demand was actually there, the ticket sales would tell a different story.
I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is, and I think that we are all benefiting from the effects that she's had on the game, and I just appreciate the way she shows up.
It's not every day in women's basketball that a Hall of Famer steps onto a podcast and delivers more truth than a finals post-game interview. But that's exactly what Lisa Leslie did when she recently came to Caitlin Clark's defense. What followed was nothing short of a masterclass in grace, perspective, and yes, a subtle but powerful takedown of Angel Reese on her very own show. Thousands were tuned in, and Reese got an up-close look at what will likely go down as one of the most graceful clapbacks in podcast history.
Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
While the internet has been blowing up over the Clark versus Reese drama, with fans treating it like a Marvel-style rivalry, Lisa Leslie stepped in and played a whole different game. She didn't take sides. She raised the level of the conversation. One day, she's praising Caitlin Clark for her influence on the league. The next, she's offering Angel Reese the kind of mentorship you won't find in any practice session. It wasn't about rivalry, it was about growth. And let's face it, someone had to say it.
But she literally got called out for missing layups. I mean, on her own damn show.
Let's rewind for a second. For months, it's felt like Caitlin Clark couldn't catch a breath without some WNBA veteran tossing a passive-aggressive remark or shooting her a side-eye. Between jealousy-fueled tweets and literal body checks on the court, it was obvious some in the league weren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat. So when Lisa Leslie, one of the WNBA's original legends, stepped in and said, "Actually, Caitlin's doing everything right," it landed like a buzzer-beater game winner.
You want to see more WNBA people saying this, and it's just so obvious.
This wasn't just any random take. This was Lisa Leslie, one of the architects of the WNBA, a pioneer who threw down dunks before they were the norm, and someone who understands firsthand what it means to elevate a league. So when she says Caitlin Clark is the real deal, the basketball world pays attention.
We have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game.
Lisa didn't just say Caitlin Clark was talented. She emphasized the how, not just the numbers. She pointed to Clark's humility, her genuine appreciation for the trailblazers who paved the way. In a league where some hacked like they invented the crossover, Clark's deep respect for the game's history stood out, and Lisa made sure everyone heard it. Her message was clear. Are you even paying attention? While some gripe about screen time, Caitlin is out here honoring the pioneers who built the stage.
Listen, she's a competitor. She's a trash talker. She makes players around her better. She's exciting to watch. And quite frankly, I've missed seeing her. Being at Unrivaled, she was there. Like, I've missed seeing her play. So I really look forward to seeing her back out there. But as I do all of the WNBA players, like, we are really watching a very exciting level of basketball.
But let's get to the real moment, the game-changing pivot that turned heads. Lisa Leslie didn't just defend from a distance. She stepped right into the conversation, face-to-face with Angel Reese on her own podcast, a space where Reese controlled the mic and the final cut. Leslie didn't hold back. She went full truth-teller mode, looked Reese straight in the eye, and called out the glaring issue, those missed layups.
The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period. Like, we're going to fix that. Yeah. That's fixable for you. And I think that's probably the biggest. I think your shot from the outside is improving. I love that your ball handling is good. Your defense is improved.
Let's take a moment to appreciate the setup. You bring a legend onto your show, expecting some nostalgia, a few laughs, maybe a feel-good girl power conversation. Instead, your struggles at the rim get put on blast for thousands to hear. It wasn't harsh, it wasn't petty, it was raw honesty. And truthfully, it was the kind of tough love coaching moment Reese might not get anywhere else.
Where she literally needs to put up like 300 shots a day. And I'm not kidding. Like 200 or 300 shots a day, and that's missed layups. She's 6'3" or 6'4", can't hit a layup to save her life. And literal videos have went mega viral of just her missing layups in games.
Lisa didn't tear Reese down. She built her up. That's what makes Leslie such a force. She didn't humiliate Angel. She challenged her, the way a Hall of Famer would take a struggling rookie aside and say, here's what needs to change if you want to be great.
You got to go out there and prove yourselves. And listen, are we going to get upset about 5, 6, 10 games less on television or not? I don't think we should. We have access to find these games now in a way that we never had before. And we have to appreciate that, and all these platforms that support the W.
Lisa understands something many overlook. When the stars rise, everyone wins. And Caitlin Clark? She's not just rising, she's skyrocketing. Leslie made it clear that Clark's spotlight isn't a threat to veterans. It's a rising tide. More attention on the league means bigger paychecks, packed arenas, and a future where both rookies and veterans get what they're worth. She didn't shy away from the controversy around Clark's screen time. She tackled it head on.
Stephen A. Smith had a very interesting discourse with Fee recently over the number of games the Fever broadcasted this season compared to other teams who have also got stars on them. So curious what you make of W's decision to lean into highlighting its stars.
While players like Reese and others grumbled about how often Clark's team gets the national spotlight, Lisa Leslie broke it down like a professor. When one of us eats, we all eat. In other words, instead of complaining about TV time, they should be thanking Clark for bringing more eyes and more opportunity to the league.
I think it's all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect, called the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games?
Remember when some players, and even ESPN, tried to downplay Caitlin Clark's dominance at Iowa just because she didn't win a national title?
I'm curious, where would you rank her amongst all-time college players in your opinion?
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's hard.
Well, Lisa Leslie wasn't having any of that either. She shut it down, plain and simple.
Curious if you think winning an NCAA championship is needed for that eventual GOAT conversation, greatest of all time status.
Absolutely not. I didn't win an NCAA championship. I was National Player of the Year. I won all of the individual awards, but sometimes, it's very hard to win a national championship, regardless of how much people talk about it, like, oh, you have to have it. it is one of the hardest things to do in a tournament where you have so many games and you're trying to get there. So yeah, shout out to all of the players who were able to win national championships, but it doesn't make a player who didn't win a national championship any less of an amazing individual player. And
Then came the mic drop moment. Lisa Leslie said, Clark deserves this, all of it. The attention, the endorsements, the hype, because she's changing the game. And when those words come from someone who changed the game herself, it's not just praise, it's a passing of the torch.
hey, listen, Caitlin, I am so thankful for her. I'm thankful for all of these women and where this game is. And we have to step back and see the big picture and how it's impacting all of us.
So what did we witness? It wasn't just a defense of Caitlin Clark or a critique of Angel Reese. It was a lesson in leadership from one of the game's all-time greats. Lisa Leslie showed us how it's done. You lift others up, you correct when necessary, and most importantly, you speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable and even when it's on someone else's mic. Because at the end of the day, Lisa Leslie isn't here to play favorites. She's here to elevate the game. And Caitlin Clark? She's proving every day that she's not just a media sensation, she's the future Lisa Leslie's been waiting for.
Honestly, I grew up playing literally everything, and I was super competitive, so my parents kind of just tossed me out there and wanted me to like get my energy out, whether it was soccer, softball, golf, track. I really did it all. And then when I got into high school, I kind of knew basketball was my future, and I loved it, and I wanted to practice it. And I think that's what was different. I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to spend time working on my game, and that was probably what set that apart from all the other sports I played. They were just kind of like for fun with my friends. I was really competitive about it, but I didn't take extra time out of my day to go and work on my game and want to be better and be better than everybody else. So I think that's what kind of helped me figure out the path I wanted to take. And then I remember in high school, I played soccer and I was on varsity and I loved it, but my teammates would get mad because I would go and practice and work out and do basketball after school right before we had our soccer games, and they couldn't believe that I was doing that. So I eventually had to give up soccer, even though I loved it, but I think it was just...
Caitlin Clark has always been a force to be reckoned with. But what we're seeing now is something else entirely. The WNBA has officially been put on notice. Clark isn't just leveling up her game, she's evolving into an unstoppable powerhouse.
Number 22,
I think this is a good excuse to miss school. Absolutely, to see your sister do that. Minnesota keep posting up, but you know who they go to. 22! Abby Marshall, here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
The newest footage shows a Clark who's not just stronger, but downright dominant, and defenders have every reason to be seriously concerned. If you thought Clark was a threat before, get ready. It's about to get wild.
She has big in that opportunity. Clark for three, rattles for her first deep shot.
She's no longer just the sharpshooter we've all come to admire. She's been hitting the gym, packing on serious muscle, and gearing up to take the league by storm in ways we've never imagined. This is the kind of transformation that turns stars into legends, and we're here to break it all down. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA updates and in-depth takes on the biggest stories rocking the league.
Bumps had a good night here tonight. Points, she and Jackie Young leading the way at Clark. Boston screen, fire away. Yep.
Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was already a generational scorer, torching defenses with her endless range and fearless shot making. But there was one major flaw: physicality.
Effect! Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. I don't have that luxury. Nice give and go. Clark right at the cup. Rebound, back Finlay.
Futility from 3 for the Sparks. 0 for 9 and
stuck in the air there. Finlay comes up with it. Here's Clark in transition where she's dangerous. Leaves it behind for.
There's just 1 of 5.
How about Finlay running the floor there? Go threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice concept, but it
won't go.
Defenders didn't hesitate to take advantage of her lean frame, bumping her off her spots, crowding her, and putting her in tough, uncomfortable positions.
Women's basketball has found its fame, and the reason for that is a 22-year-old playing in just her first WNBA season. Indiana Fever's point guard, Caitlin Clark, has already become the face of women's basketball, despite this being her debut year. To cap it off, Clark has won Rookie of the Year award, and she did that in some style, a unanimous choice of 66 of the 67 votes going in her favor. But it isn't just skill and accolades that make her the most popular face here on the basketball court. Clark's off-field antics.
Skeptics were loud. Could she handle the brutal physicality of the league? Was she just another college phenom who would falter against bigger, stronger, and faster opponents? Fast forward to now, and Clark has completely turned that narrative upside down. She didn't just accept the challenge, she went straight at it.
Which makes it a really good offensive.
Clark seeing direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage, and Boston trying to beat all their opponents for the first time since 2010. Clark shot fakes the 3, feeds inside to Boston for 2.
This offseason wasn't just about fine-tuning her already deadly jumper or sharpening her handles. It was about building a physique strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with the most physical defenders in the league. She made strength just as much of a priority as skill. And the results? Absolutely game-changing. Clark dove into an elite strength and conditioning program designed to pack on muscle without sacrificing the agility and explosiveness that make her a nightmare on the court. Trainers built a plan centered around core stability, lower body strength, and endurance, making sure she could take the hits and still finish strong. She fully embraced weightlifting, resistance training, and explosive movement drills, transforming herself into a more durable, battle-ready version of Clark.
third quarter. Behind the back, Clark. A wide open shot. And wide open is Caitlin Clark, but she can't knock it down from up top. Tries it again from a different spot. That one connects.
The transformation is undeniable. She's stronger, more balanced, and now able to initiate contact instead of just taking it.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this. But it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths. Let's find different ways to get the ball to our players. And then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
The days of defenders pushing Clark around are a thing of the past. Now, she's the one setting the tone. And it's not just the fans and analysts who've noticed. Her coach, Stephanie White, has confirmed it too.
A new sight on the court here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That decal right at the spot where Caitlin hit that follow-away 3. The logo 3 to take the NCAA scoring record.
In a recent statement, White made it clear. Clark didn't just fine-tune her physique, she completely rebuilt it. This isn't a small tweak, it's a full-on evolution, and it's already having a massive impact on her game.
Play. It's up, it won't go down, and this building knows.
See Mitchell's going, what happened? For Caitlin, what a reaction by Kelsey.
Her arms are more defined, a clear testament to the hours of weight training she's put in. Her core is rock solid, keeping her balanced even when taking heavy hits. Her legs are built for explosive power, giving her that extra burst when driving to the rim and extending her shooting range beyond what was already elite. Clark has transformed herself into a physical powerhouse, and the results? Undeniable. The added strength is showing up everywhere in her game. She's attacking the basket with more power, finishing through contact instead of getting knocked off course. Defenders who once pushed her out of position are now the ones getting bounced back.
I guess he determined that Ariel Atkins had possession.
Clark, the switch on to Dolson, steps back.
Steph Dolson's in drop, and the screen is so...
14 from the field, but they've got a 5-point mark circling around. Sets up Samuelson, who's wide open and free.
Her three-point range has stretched even farther, thanks to the added power in her legs. But maybe the biggest change? Her defense. Clark can now stand her ground against bigger, stronger opponents, turning her into an even more dangerous two-way force.
Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold-out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league. So
the implications for the league are massive. A stronger Caitlin Clark isn't just a more lethal scorer. She's now a matchup nightmare for every team she faces. Physicality was the one weapon defenders had to try and slow her down. But with her transformation, that tool is completely off the table. Clark's added strength makes her even more dangerous. And now, opponents have to rethink everything. If she was already nearly unstoppable before, what does that make her now? Teams across the WNBA better start reworking their game plans, because the old strategies to contain her just became completely irrelevant. Every defender in the league will need to adjust, or they'll be left scrambling. Is the WNBA racist? Some would say so, but let's discuss some facts and numbers first. By all means, this was the best year the WNBA has ever had. They set an all-time record for total television viewers, reaching 54 million people. They also set an all-time record for the number of broadcasts that hit at least 1 million viewers. The league saw its highest total attendance in more than 2 decades, with a massive 50% increase compared to last year. The All-Star Game broke new ground with a staggering 10 million fan votes, a more than 500% increase from the previous year. The Indiana Fever, the team Caitlin Clark plays for, managed to set an all-time single-season attendance record for a WNBA team. Beyond that, the league saw a 350% year-over-year growth in subscriptions to their paid streaming service. Add to that more social media engagement, more sellout crowds, more news coverage, and more merchandise sales than ever before. It's the kind of season that WNBA executives likely never imagined was possible. Now, given all these remarkable achievements, how much money do you think the WNBA made this year? How much revenue could such a groundbreaking season bring in? What kind of profit do you think they were able to achieve? Earlier in the year, there were reports suggesting that the WNBA's finances weren't looking great, and now that the final numbers are in, those estimates have proven to be pretty accurate. According to the New York Post, the WNBA lost $40 million this year. Yes, during its best season ever, the league still managed to operate at a loss of $40 million. They exceeded nearly every metric for growth and engagement, and yet failed to turn a profit. This isn't just a bad year financially, it's a pattern. The WNBA has never been profitable in its entire history, and at this point, it's difficult to see how that could ever change. It's a concept fundamentally at odds with reality, because the majority of Americans simply aren't interested in watching women's basketball. Even during a record-breaking year like this one, the numbers show that interest still isn't enough to sustain the league financially. This backdrop makes Caitlin Clark's recent interview with Time magazine particularly interesting. Time, which still exists, recently named Clark their Athlete of the Year and featured her on the cover. In the article, Clark made a statement that's simultaneously revealing and controversial. Here's the part that stands out, directly from Time magazine. "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege," says Clark. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. There are two things happening here. First, Clark is crediting black women with building the WNBA. Without them, she argues, the league wouldn't exist. While this might be intended as a compliment, it's a bit like praising someone for founding a business that consistently loses millions of dollars. However, even this claim isn't entirely accurate. The WNBA was built and is still financially sustained by the NBA. Without the NBA's funding and support, the WNBA wouldn't exist at all. She goes further to say that black women deserve to be elevated and celebrated, which makes it clear why she's saying this. She's protecting her endorsements and her status in the WNBA by endorsing a narrative that aligns with modern progressive ideals. What's interesting is that Clark's words come after and during a season in which she faced relentless abuse on the court. Whether it was being knocked over, poked in the eye, or shoulder-checked, Clark was repeatedly targeted, and in some cases even taunted afterward. Yet, despite this treatment, she's out here claiming that she has privilege. As a white woman in the WNBA, her experience suggests anything but privilege. What she does have is undeniable talent. Clark set records as a rookie, including the most points, the most assists, and becoming the fastest player to reach 300 points. Her performance is the reason she's a standout, not her race. However, her willingness to embrace the narrative of privilege, even after the way she was treated on the court, raises questions about whether she's doing so out of conviction or necessity. The WNBA, for all its growth and engagement, remains a business with fundamental issues. Even in its best year, it couldn't come close to profitability. Clark's commentary highlights the league's reliance on all players, but doesn't address the underlying problem. The WNBA is asking for an audience that largely doesn't exist. The record-breaking engagement figures show progress, but they also show limits. A majority of Americans still aren't tuning in, even when the league reaches its peak. In the end, the WNBA's challenges go far beyond racial dynamics or privilege. The league's financial woes point to a deeper issue: its inability to convert interest into sustainable revenue. Caitlin Clark's remarks may spark conversations, but they don't change the reality that the WNBA is, at its core, a business struggling to justify its existence in the sports market.